We are expecting that we have a country that our leaders will be more concerned about the dividends of democracy, concerned about democratic system of governance, concerned about all inclusiveness, concerned about a government, I would want to say a government that pay attention to the demands and yearnings of the people, pay attention to the masses' request. We are expecting that Bola Ahmed Tinubu administration, being concerning the fact that he was one of those persons, the president was one of those persons that actually was leading agitation in this country. He has also led a protest against the former president, President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, on the increments of fuel, of petrol. He also led a protest against bad government or bad governance, according to him, that we have a government that was actually not paying attention to the demands and yearnings of Nigerians. According to him and Soyinka, Professor Wole Soyinka, protested against Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, even when Nigeria was at a point of managing the economy, and the economy wasn't that difficult or hard like it is on us right now. Mr. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu actually protested against the then president, requesting that Mr. President must cut down the cost price of petrol. He also condemned the administration of President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, that his administration was not being fair to Nigerians. He also condemned the fact that Nigerians were suffering under the administration of Goodluck Ebele Jonathan. When we saw a man like that, we felt his own position or his tenure or administration as the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, that Nigerians were going to enjoy at least a better system than the government he protested against. We felt President Bola Ahmed Tinubu will give Nigerians a better system of governance, and not only to Nigerians, but also have to be an example to the world that Nigeria is indeed a better country where leaders is concerned about their people, especially an agitator like him. He is an agitator, and we also expect something good coming out from an agitator, especially when he is in leadership. But unfortunately, this is an unfortunate situation that we face in Nigeria. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu administration, without being economical to the truth, let's be realistic. Even Mr. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is aware that the country is not nice. Nigeria is not being fair to Nigerians. The country he represents, the president, our rebellion leaders are not concerned about the welfare and the happiness of Nigerians. It's also obvious that in our constitution, the happiness of the citizens of this country is also embedded in Nigeria constitution as another way of indicating or expressing welfare and a good leadership quality to the people of Nigerians. Now, as we speak, 65 years gone, what can we actually say that we have benefited in Nigeria celebrating independence at 65? I am also very not surprised or not shocked that Mr. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu do not see the need of celebrating this year independent, because even to Mr. President, he is aware that there is nothing to celebrate at this point in time. But I think the major concern Mr. President has that he has refused to address is very simple. Mr. President must find himself with those that are positive thinkers, those that think well about Nigeria as a country, those that mean well for Nigerians. It's unfortunate that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, is not surrounded by those that mean well for Nigerians. And that is why the country is always and is going backward on daily basis. The country, instead of going forward, the country is going backward, because the cabinet members or those that have been appointed as his cabinet members are actually not those that are concerned about the welfare and the demands and yearnings of Nigeria. In the entire country, everybody is crying. Just look at what happened today. Today, Rivers State suffered democratic values for 6 months because of bad leadership, because of bad advisors, because of those his advisory council were not doing well to educate him of the menace or the negative implication of creating or setting up or declaring a state of emergency in Rivers State. His advisors were not going well in that aspect. As we speak, Rivers State suffered complete 6 months without government in a state or in a country where we said we are practicing democratic system, in a country where we are not having military regime, in a country where we are having a democratic system of government, and then another state, another government or an elected president we go forward, or we went further to suspend and declare a state of emergency in Rivers State, all because he has bad advisors. I think Mr. President must also be grassrooted. I see Mr. President as someone that is a grassroots man. So if Mr. President wants to exhibit or express his person or passion of being a grassroots person, Mr. President ought to know what is going on in the 36 states, including the FCT. It's unfortunate that Mr. President seems to be concerned about just the FCT, Abuja, the capital territory, and is not concerned about other parts of the country. And that is why Nigerians are suffering. Up on all the calls, look at what is going on in the National Assembly. Look at what is going on in all sectors. The security aspect, Mr. President has refused to set up one agenda, to prioritize one agenda. Mr. President must know that Renew Hope is not an agenda. Renew Hope is not an agenda. So if Mr. President must talk about Renew Hope, we can only talk about Renew Hope when you are doing well in a country that was not doing well. As we speak, can Mr. President Bola Tinubu stand up as a president and tell Nigerians, tell the world, that his administration today is doing better than the administration he protested against? Mr. President, this is a question that Nigerians youth want to ask you. This is a question that Niger Delta youth want to ask you. This is a question that South Youth Initiative want to ask you. This is a question that the less privileged in Nigeria want to ask you. This is a question that the motherless, the orphans, and those with disabilities want to ask you, Mr. President. Can you, Mr. President, hit your chest and tell Nigerians that today, the administration you lead today as the president is actually doing well or doing better than the administration you protested against, than the administration you and others protested against? Today, Mr. President, you're not interested in protest. Today, Mr. President, you're not interested in agitation. Today, Mr. President is not interested in opposition. But Mr. President was saying as the leader of opposition in this country, and nothing happens. People did not die. People wasn't killed. People were living. People were happy. People were still going on with their normal life. Even when Mr. President was saying, as one of those persons that was opposition opponent or against the then administration. But today, the current president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Bola Tinubu, is not interested or not happy about opposition. Today, Mr. President don't want to see people agitating against his own government. And then we ask, if your government was doing better, would Nigerians be coming out on the street to protest or to agitate against your government? The answer is your conscience. I think Mr. President will answer this question in his own conscience. Today, Fulani herdsmen are taking over the entire country. As we speak, people are dying, millions, thousands of Nigerians are dying on a daily basis. Mr. President has refused to take action about those that are killing Nigerians. What are we being faced? What are we being asked to do? Instead, Mr. President and the government of Nigeria and the current administration of Mr. President in our various states are telling us, even our security architectures, security agencies are telling us to go and negotiate with our killers. It happened in Ogoni land. It happened in Benue. It happens in other parts of the world. It's going on in the north. And what are we being faced? What are we asking? What have been asked to do? What we have been asking to do is that we should go and negotiate with our killers. We should go and dialogue with our killers. What then is the fate of Nigerians in the hands of the current administration? Mr. President must realize that Nigerians are not happy. Mr. President must realize that indeed Nigerians will concentrate or will imitate what is going on in other parts of the world. As we speak, we are not happy. Nigerians are not happy. This is 65 years of independence. What can we be able to celebrate in this country? We are responsible. We are the owner of the crude. Yet, no working refineries in this country. We have crude that is coming from Nigeria. This is our product. This is what we produce. We are responsible for the crude. Yet, we are not responsible for the refining of this crude. So what are we saying? What is actually working? What can Mr. President boast about that in his own administration he was found doing well? What can Mr. President boast about? Mr. President cannot boast that his administration is making Nigerians to be happy. As we speak, what is the cost of petrol? For the history or in the history of Nigerians, we have not been able, we've not even during President Muhammadu Buhari's administration, we were not even buying fuel at a rate of 200. It wasn't up to that amount. But today, what are we saying? The same price, the same petrol that we are producing, we go out of this country, we export our crude, and then pay very huge sum amount of money, pay heavily to refine our crude and bring back to be sold out to Nigerians. But then, Mr. President, there was a decision you took upon your assumption in office when you took over. You made it clear to Nigerians that indeed you were going to remove fuel subsidy, and that once you remove fuel subsidy, Nigerians were going to face a better system of government, and that the fuel subsidy was responsible for the hardship we are facing in this country, and that the fuel subsidy removal is one of those things we are going to do that will make Nigeria a better place. Can Mr. President see to the success of his promise? Can Mr. President say that his promise so far that the fuel subsidy was the major setback that we have in this country has actually brought or bring about success in this country? Mr. President cannot be bold enough to tell Nigerians that the removal of fuel subsidy has made Nigeria a better place ever since he took that decision. Though, we also consider that Mr. President was in a hurry to have taken that decision, because Mr. President did not put in place drastic measures that will be able to address the dringing challenge that will come up as a result of his decision. But today, what are we being faced? We are being faced with tremendous hardship. As we speak, Mr. President in his broadcast said Nigerians have been paid 25,000. Mr. President, if you can see this video, if you can see me, Mr. President, I want to tell you that no Nigerians are receiving 25,000. Nobody has been paid. I am not being paid. No Nigerians have been paid. In the Niger Delta, how many persons have been paid? In the Southeast, how many persons have been paid? In the West, how many persons have been paid? In the entire Southern region, how many persons have been paid? In the entire country, how many persons have been paid 25,000? Mr. President, you must go through that your particular broadcast and look again and ask yourself, all that you said to Nigerians, is it true? The 25,000 you talked about that Nigerians are receiving on a monthly basis. Mr. President, I want to tell you that myself and my family and every Niger Delta that we know right now, they should come out and tell Mr. President or tell the world that this is the family that have received the 25,000 Mr. President talked about. Today, we are hearing of so many challenges that is going on. What is going on in this country? Nothing is working. Mr. President, please, we want Mr. President to know that, like I said earlier, Renew Hope is not agenda, or is not an agenda that Mr. President should prioritize. Renew Hope comes when people on their own will speak about Renew Hope, that indeed their hope has been renewed based on the administration or based on the positive system of government that we are experiencing. At this point, can we actually say that the Renew Hope Mr. President preached and is being talked about in the 36 states amongst his supporters, that this Renew Hope is actually meeting up its target? No, there is nothing like Renew Hope. Renew Hope is not an agenda, Mr. President. Mr. President, you must prioritize first security. Our institutions are failing. Look at our judiciary. You go to magistrate court, you get a different judgment, compromising judgment. How then do we speak about an institution when our judiciary has compromised in its judgment? When our judiciary has compromised with justice? There is no justice that can be given to the poor. Now the court is now a Father Christmas. When growing up, we were told that the court is not a Father Christmas. But today, I must tell you, Mr. President, that the judiciary and the court under your leadership as the president has become a Father Christmas. Because as we speak right now, what are we saying? The magistrate court in Nigeria, the customary court in Nigeria, the High Court, and our Supreme Court are then meeting up the expectations of Nigerians. That is the question, Mr. President. Are they meeting up the expectations of Nigerians? The answer is no. Can Nigerians still have hope in the judiciary? How then do we talk about security when these are also major setbacks to security? Then how do we say, what do we say about security? Mr. President must realize that the judiciary has gone, the hope of Nigeria, the common masses in Nigeria judiciary has been killed. So what do we say? Mr. President must realize that in his own administration, which of the institutions that has been seen to be working, we talk about EFCC, talk about ICPC, all those that have been actually accused of siphoning, of being responsible for Nigerian resources, being responsible for Rivers State resources, being responsible for the Ogoni resources, being responsible for the entire country resources, are working with Mr. President. How many of them has been probed? How many of them have actually been listed that these are the people or these are the persons that have actually abusing the Nigerian currency or the Nigerian resources or the state or their state resources? How many persons have been probed? What happened to EFCC? Do we still have EFCC? Because we were told that EFCC was an agency responsible to go against those that are actually embezzling government resources of the people's, the taxpayers' money. Now, what then do we have to say about EFCC? EFCC has failed because EFCC has refused to meet up or live up to expectation. So EFCC has failed. Then when you talk about the Nigerian security, the Nigerian security system or security agency must rise up to the challenge. These all challenges bounce back to the Nigerian security system because we're having all of this insecurity in this country because Mr. President has not prioritized the economic situation of this country. Mr. President must understand that our economic factor is the most important factor that will almost to stabilize every other sector. The economic situation, our economic policy is one of those policies that Mr. President would have set up as his agenda. This should have been number one agenda of Mr. President's list. But unfortunately, Mr. President, you are not paying attention to the people you represent. Mr. President, you are not actually giving the kind of administration that Nigerians expect of you. We hope that what is going on in other sister states, in other sisters' country, we hope that what is going on in other countries will not be replicated in Nigeria. But with what we see that coming to Nigeria. We see revolution. We see revolution now in Nigeria. And we call on Nigerian youth to come out and tell this current administration at the state level, local government level, and at the federal government level that indeed the government of Nigeria currently has failed the poor masses. We belong to the poor masses. Can we be able to afford 3 square meals? Mr. President, this country is no longer fair for us. Mr. President, Nigerians are not happy. Nigerians are aggrieved. And we are going to express our grievances come 2027. We need Nigerians to understand that the best way to express our grievances is 2027. Mr. President, I want to call your attention again to the recent situation or the recent crisis you want to create in the Ogoni land. You talked about oil exploration. The President wants to begin oil resumption in Ogoni land. What measure has Mr. President put in place to address the challenge of the people of Ogoni? As we speak, for complete 50 years that Shell operated in Ogoni land, the people have nothing to show for it. The people suffered untold hardship. Nothing was there to show to the people as what the people benefited from the federal government of Nigeria then when Shell was operating in Ogoni. To that effect, the people rise against Shell and said they don't need Shell to operate in Ogoni land. As we speak, the people of Ogoni came together and agreed that Shell should leave Ogoni. And that was how Shell left Ogoni. And that was why oil exploration stopped in Ogoni. And then we talked about the effect or the negative effect of that oil exploration in Ogoni land, which brought about environmental degradation and the level of pollution we have in Ogoni land. That Mr. The Ogoni people came out and requested for Ogoni cleanup. We now have a 30 years cleanup, thanks to the former president of Nigeria, Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, that ignited it or that started it, even though he failed to implement it. Yes, he started it, but he did not implement it after beginning the process. Thanks to President Muhammadu Buhari for the implementation of the Ogoni UNEP report. Thanks to President Muhammadu Buhari in blessed memory for implementing the Ogoni people's demand, which was the Ogoni cleanup exercise. Today, the Ogoni cleanup exercise is ongoing. According to the implementation, the cleanup exercise was supposed to last for 30 years. How do you want to begin oil resumption when the cleanup exercise is still ongoing? You still want to repollute the land that we are actually trying to clean. What is the agenda? Because Mr. President felt that he does not want to pay attention to the people's demand. Mr. President must give attention to the demands of the people. Now Mr. President wants to resume oil exploration in Ogoni land. I want to tell Mr. President that the Ogonis are not ready for oil resumption. I want to tell Mr. President that the oil in Ogoni is referred to as blood oil. More than 2,000 persons were killed because of this oil resumption. More than 2,000 persons were killed in Ogoni because of oil exploration in Ogoni land, and yet nothing to show for it. Just establishing or signing the establishment of the University of Environment in Ogoni land is not enough to begin oil resumption in Ogoni land. So, Mr. President, if you are being deceived by those that are rally around you, those coming around you, please, Mr. President, come to the grassroots and ask the people a question. I think it's time Mr. President should pay a visit, senatorial visit, to all the senatorial districts in Nigeria. At least let Mr. President be able to get a first-class information, since Mr. President is not privileged to be advised by good Nigerians or by his cabinet members. If Mr. President can stay out from the villa and then come to each of the senatorial districts, if Mr. President can visit each of the senatorial districts in the 36 states of this country, and they go to the people and actually demand, ask for the people demands. Know what the people want. Mr. President, you are not giving to the people what the people want. Mr. President, you are not listening to the yearnings of the poor masses of Nigeria. Mr. President, you are not paying attention to positive system of governance. And that, in return, may affect you come 2027. So if Mr. President wants to do well, I think at this point, we demand that Mr. President should actually reappoint his cabinet members. We demand the reappointment of Mr. President cabinet members, knowing very well that these current cabinet members have failed Mr. President. Mr. President, whether you take it or you leave it, I want to inform you that your current cabinet members and your current political appointees has failed in your administration for not being able to give you the necessary advice that can make Nigerians to support you. If Mr. President has good advisory councils, I'm sure Mr. President would have been advised or would have been informed that Nigerians are not happy about his administration, especially as it concerns the hardship that Nigerians are facing. Mr. President, the bills you are signing, recently we saw it on the news that Mr. President have signed 500 naira for 10,000 naira fuel that begins by January. Mr. President, this is not what Nigeria wants. This is creating more hardship on Nigerians. And we do not agree. We are not okay. We are not comfortable with that policy or with that particular bill that you signed, Mr. President. Just recently, again, we saw on the news that Mr. President have signed tax for prostitution. We want to ask you, Mr. President, are you now legalizing prostitution in this country? Something that Nigerians should be able to abolish. Nigerians should abolish prostitution amongst us. If Mr. President could go as far as signing a tax for prostitution, for prostitutes, then what are we saying? Such a bill does not mean well in this country. Such a bill will not be able to clean the system. Rather, it will increase the high level of corruption that is being indebted or that is actually currently living with Nigerians. Mr. President, I want to tell you that what you are doing and your administration is not favorable to Nigerians and may call for a serious revolution against you, and also call for a challenge in your success come 2027. If you do not succeed come 2027, know very well that you actually do not pay attention to the demands and the yearnings at the core of Nigerians. We are now making a call that Mr. President, go back and revisit the pump price of petrol. We want the pump price of petrol to go back the way it was when you protested. We want the pump price of petrol to return back to the amount of the pump price that it was as at the time you protested against the president, the then President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan. You protested against him because of pump price. Mr. President, can you bring back the current pump price of Nigeria to the same pump price you protested against? Mr. President, that's one of our call. Mr. President, also one of our call is that you must prioritize security and reduce the excessive hardship that we are facing. Prioritize security and reduce the killings that is going on in Nigeria, in all parts of this country. Mr. President, are you not aware? Or it's because none of your loved ones have been killed in the current crisis? Mr. President, you must be aware that Nigerians are being killed on a daily basis, and yet you are Mr. President. How do you feel? Go to the other part of the world to represent Nigerians and say Nigeria is corruption-free, when you know very well that indeed what you said there is not what is going on in this country. How then do you feel about that, Mr. President? Mr. President, one of those things that those of us that are your children wanted from you was to set a legacy that can speak for you in your absence, that set a legacy that can speak for you in the future. Mr. President, what is your legacy? What is the legacy you are going to leave behind? Is it that you said a Milokon that it is your turn and you become the president? Is that the legacy? Mr. President, Nigerians and the poor masses of this country, I tell you that that indeed is not a legacy for you to leave behind. Because the only legacy that we see at this point is that, Mr. President, you said it's your turn and you successfully emerged as the president, a Milokon. That's not the legacy, Mr. President. Mr. President, one of the legacies you are going to leave behind for Nigerians is to prioritize the happiness of Nigerians, is to prioritize the welfare of Nigerians, is to prioritize the success of Nigerians, is to create Nigeria as a country where other investors and entrepreneurs, where the youth of this country will be able to do well without politics, create a conducive atmosphere for Nigeria's youth to strive without being involved in politics, create a conducive atmosphere that Nigeria's youth, the motherless, the orphans, the disabled, and the all poor Nigerians can be able to live and then have a better system of government. Create a Nigeria, Mr. President, where our institution will be stronger than individual. As we speak, our individuals are stronger than our institution. That's what we are facing right now, Mr. President. So at this point, Mr. President, I want to sincerely say that you still have another independent year to celebrate in your first tenure. Mr. President, ensure and make sure that the next celebration of the Nigeria being 66, Nigeria at 66 will be better than Nigeria at 65. Mr. President, if Nigeria at 66 will be better than Nigeria at 65, then we can say you are ready for 2027 election. But for now, Mr. President, you are not ready for 2027 election. And you must think of what to do to reappoint your cabinet members, dissolve your cabinet members, dissolve your ministers, dissolve your appointees, and bring on board those cabinet members, ministers, appointees that will actually give you the right advice that will make you succeed come 2027. We want to tell Mr. President, with this current footstep you are leading, with the current administration, Mr. President, it will be very difficult for you come 2027 if you continue in this particular position you are taking. Mr. President, the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, I want to inform you once again that indeed Rivers people do not see the political tussle or crisis that took place in Rivers State as a political tussle or crisis between the governor of Rivers State and the FCT minister. We want you to know, Mr. President, that a good number of Rivers people considered the political tussle that took place in Rivers State and the political hardship we face in this country, in Rivers State especially, that it was a struggle or a political tussle between the Rivers people and Mr. President. Mr. President, the peace that you actually mediated about or talked about in Rivers State, as we speak, we want to question the genuineness of that peaceful or that peace reconciliation. Mr. President, we are not happy in Rivers State because, one, the peace that we talked about that we are supposed to express in Rivers State, we actually not seen a genuine peace. An agreement will not be between the FCT minister and the governor without the Rivers people involved. Rivers people must be involved. The concern of Rivers people, the concern of Rivers indigent, the concern of Rivers State must be number one priority in any agreement that will be signed. Where is the agreement or the understanding of happiness? Where is the welfare of Rivers citizens in the agreement that has been signed between the FCT minister and the suspended governor? Yes, the correction, the lifting of state of emergency is something that we expected that Mr. President would have done even on the day of democracy celebration. We expected Mr. President to have lifted the suspension or to actually call off the declaration of state of emergency in Rivers State come between the period of June 12th. Mr. President, you didn't do that. Mr. President, as we speak, yes, you might have think that you have corrected a mistake or you have lifted democracy or you have actually reinstated the suspended governor of Rivers State. But then, what is the success? What is the way forward, Mr. President? I want to inform you that as we speak, Nigerians or Rivers people are not happy because the genuineness of the peace that we are talking about is not what we are experiencing. Mr. President, please advise your cabinet member, the FCT minister, Barrister Ogoni, the former governor of Rivers State, to please allow the governor, the reinstated governor, to perform his constitutional responsibilities. I want to inform the FCT minister, Mr. President, that when the FCT minister was the governor of Rivers State, nobody, no citizens of Rivers State gave him condition or agreement to sign. There was no agreement that he signed. There was no condition that was given to him. He was allowed to perform his constitutional responsibilities. The then president, President Muhammadu Buhari, did not give the then governor of Rivers State, who is currently the FCT minister, any condition or any agreement to sign. He was allowed, even when he insulted the president, even when he was not on the same page with Mr. President, the then president, he was not given a condition. Neither was he fought against. He was allowed to concentrate on his own style of leadership. Nobody truncated his leadership tenure. He was allowed. He was given the freedom to actually carry out his constitutional responsibilities. Mr. President, you must also understand that as we speak, Rivers people are not happy. Please advise the FCT minister, Barrister Nyesom, to allow the reinstated governor to perform his constitutional responsibilities. We believe that because of the influence of the FCT minister, the state legislature, the state house of assembly, and the state local government chairman are not taking directive from the FCT, from the governor of Rivers State. We want a government, we want a state where Mr. President will ensure that there is total peace in the state. The state house of assembly, the local government chairman, and the supposed commissioners should be taking directive from the state governor, the same way it is in other states. But as we speak, that's not what we're experiencing in Rivers State. And we question the genuineness of the peace that have been signed, which Mr. President supervised. And then we also question the reinstatement of the suspended governor, or we also question the suspension of the state of emergency, because what we are seeing is not a government that is ready to pay attention to the people. We want a situation or a government that the state governor will have attention and will concentrate on governance the way he started. I also want to advise His Excellency Small Afubara to please understand that if he cannot deliver come 2027, then it will be because he lacked the political structure or the political will to deliver come 2027. His Excellency Small Afubara must understand that as we speak, in as much as we believe that he was actually supported by the then governor of Rivers State, currently the FCT minister, it should also remember that the then governor of Rivers State did not support him with his own personal money. He supported him with Rivers State resources. And all our resources, including my own resources, was used to support him come 2023, that he became the governor of Rivers State. So it was not the personal resources of the FCT minister or the then governor that was used to sponsor the election that took place in 2023. It was Rivers State resources, which I am also part of, that was used in sponsoring the success of the election in 2023. So, Mr. His Excellency, you will understand that Rivers people are in their need of positive system of governance. You must give Rivers people what they demand of you, and that is a positive system of governance. The way you started, the organic support that you got from Rivers people was because you started well and because you were willing to actually concentrate on governance. But if you continue in this aspect, Rivers people will leave you alone. The organic support that you have today, you will lost it come 2027. And Mr. His Excellency, we also want you to understand that 2027 is just by the corner. So if you must succeed, then you use this period to build and appoint your political structures. His Excellency Afubara, you must be able to have your own political structure that can be able to stand by you, appoint commissioners that will be able to stand by you. It is rare. Let's not be economical with the truth. Let's be very realistic. That His Excellency, as we speak, does not have total control of the local government chairman or the 23 local government chairman in Rivers State. Let it also be on notice or on record that His Excellency Small Afubara do not have total control of the State House of Assembly members or the 27 House of Assembly members that actually defected and today denied that they never defected and was given justice by the Supreme Court of Nigeria. We also want His Excellency to understand that you don't have control over these people. Some of the appointments that has been made during during the period of state of emergency, you don't have control of some of those persons. It is time for you, His Excellency, is the Executive Governor of Rivers State, Small Afubara, to please harmonize your supporters with the supporters of the FCT minister, harmonize your structure, build your structure. If you really want to succeed, if you really want to have a future political ambition, except after being a governor, you are going back home, or you are going back to a private sector, or you are going back, you are leaving Nigeria, and you don't want to be part of Nigeria politics again. But if you want to practice, if you still want to remain in politics in the future, this is the right time to prove to Rivers people that you want to remain in politics. If you want to remain in politics, this is the right time to tell Rivers people and to tell Nigerians that you are ready for future politics. But if you don't, then you can as well accept all that have been given to you to sign and then work based on what was given to you to sign and forget about Rivers people and move on, because after your tenure as a governor, Rivers people may not want to welcome you again. But if you want to give attention to Rivers people, the way you have got the attention of Rivers people and the attention of Rivers youth, then you must be ready, His Excellency, to also think about the welfare of Rivers people and pay less attention to the agreement that was given to you if the agreement is not going to assist you or help you in the kind of governance or the kind of leadership you need in Rivers State. If the agreement will not be useful to Rivers people, His Excellency, we also want you to understand that that agreement shouldn't stand. If Rivers people will not benefit from that agreement, don't let the agreement stand, because we are ready to support you. Rivers Youth will support you. The organic support we have given to you, we are giving to you because we feel or because we saw a man that is passionate about governance, and that's why we are supporting you. But if you feel otherwise, we are going to withdraw our support if we see something different from what we are saying.